Imagine boarding a flight for what should be a routine 6-hour journey. You settle into your seat, the aircraft takes off normally. The crew serves refreshments, everything seems ordinary. Then suddenly, the plane disappears. No distress call, no emergency signal, no confirmed crash site, nothing. A modern Boeing 777 carrying 239 people simply vanishes from the face of the earth. For years, governments, intelligence agencies, aviation experts, and some of the world's most advanced search teams have tried to answer a single question. What happened to Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370? How can an aircraft equipped with sophisticated navigation systems disappear in the 21st century? Was it an accident, a hijacking, a deliberate act? Or is the truth still hidden somewhere beneath the depths of the Indian Ocean? Today, we're diving deep into one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in aviation history. This is the story of MH370. The date was March 8, 2014. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 was scheduled to fly from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, to Beijing, China. The aircraft was a Boeing 777-200R, one of the safest and most reliable commercial aircraft ever built. On board were 239 people, 227 passengers, 12 crew members, families, students, business travelers, tourists, people with plans, dreams, and destinations. The flight departed Kuala Lumpur International Airport at approximately 12:41 a.m. local time. Everything appeared normal. The weather was good. The aircraft was mechanically sound. The pilots were highly experienced. Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah had over 18,000 hours of flying experience. His first officer, Farik Abdul Hamid, was also well trained. For the first 40 minutes, nothing unusual occurred. Then everything changed. At 1:19 a.m., Air Traffic Control instructed MH370 to contact Vietnamese controllers as it approached the boundary between Malaysian and Vietnamese airspace. The response came from the cockpit. "Good night, Malaysian 370. Those would become the final known words from the aircraft. Less than 2 minutes later, the plane's transponder stopped transmitting. Suddenly, MH370 vanished from civilian radar screens. Air traffic controllers initially assumed a technical issue. But as minutes turned into hours, concern began to grow. Something was terribly wrong. Although civilian radar lost contact, military radar told a different story. Investigators later discovered that MH370 had not simply disappeared. The aircraft had changed direction. Instead of continuing toward Beijing, it made a dramatic turn west. Then it crossed back over the Malay Peninsula. It flew across the Strait of Malacca and continued into the darkness. This was one of the most shocking discoveries of the investigation. A Boeing 777 doesn't accidentally perform a precise turn like this. Someone or something changed its course. The question was, who and why? The aircraft continued flying for hours after it vanished from civilian radar. Yet nobody knew where it was going. Passengers never called loved ones. No emergency messages were received. No mayday call was transmitted. It was as if everyone on board had disappeared along with the aircraft. Investigators desperately searched for evidence. Then they found an unexpected clue. Even though the aircraft's communication systems appeared disabled, MH370 was still exchanging automated signals with an Inmarsat satellite. These signals were called handshakes. Every hour, the aircraft responded automatically to the satellite. The crew didn't have to do anything. The system simply checked whether the aircraft was still operating. This discovery changed everything. By analyzing these handshakes, experts could estimate where the plane had traveled. The data suggested two possible routes. One route went north toward Central Asia. The other went south into the Indian Ocean. As more analysis was completed, investigators became increasingly convinced that MH370 had traveled south. Far south, into one of the most remote stretches of ocean on Earth. The final handshake occurred approximately 7 hours after the aircraft disappeared from radar. Then silence. The plane was gone. What followed was an unprecedented international search effort. Malaysia, Australia, China, the United States, and many other nations joined the operation. Ships were deployed. Aircraft scanned the ocean. Satellites searched for debris. Underwater drones explored the seafloor. The search zone covered hundreds of thousands of square kilometers. The southern Indian Ocean is one of the most challenging environments on Earth. Powerful storms, massive waves, extreme depths. Some areas reach more than 6,000 meters below the surface. Searching this region was like trying to find a single object in a vast underwater desert. Months passed, then years. Yet no main wreckage was found. No black boxes. No definitive answers. Only more questions. Then, in July 2015, a breakthrough occurred. A piece of aircraft debris washed ashore on Reunion Island. The component was identified as a flaperon. A flaperon is part of an aircraft wing. Experts confirmed it came from MH370. It was the first physical evidence proving that the aircraft had crashed. More debris would later be discovered on beaches across the western Indian Ocean, Mozambique, Tanzania, South Africa, Madagascar. The ocean currents appeared consistent with a crash somewhere in the southern Indian Ocean. For the families of the victims, the discoveries brought mixed emotions. They finally had proof that the aircraft had not landed safely. But they still had no explanation, no bodies, no wreckage field, no answers. One of the most controversial theories focuses on the captain. Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah was experienced and respected. Investigators examined every aspect of his life. His finances, his relationships, his political views, his mental health. A flight simulator found in his home became a major point of interest. Some reports suggested that routes similar to the southern Indian Ocean path had been entered into the simulator. This fueled speculation that the disappearance may have been intentional. Supporters of this theory argue that the communication systems were deliberately disabled. The aircraft executed controlled maneuvers. The route changes appeared intentional. The plane remained airborne for many hours. Critics, however, point out that there is no direct evidence linking the captain to a deliberate act. No suicide note, no confession, no clear motive. Even after years of investigation, authorities could not conclusively blame him. The theory remains controversial. Another leading explanation involves hypoxia. Hypoxia occurs when insufficient oxygen reaches the brain. If cabin pressurization fails, people can quickly become unconscious. According to this theory, a pressurization emergency may have occurred. The pilots may have attempted to turn back toward Malaysia, but before they could complete emergency procedures, everyone on board became incapacitated. The aircraft then continued flying on autopilot, hour after hour, until fuel exhaustion. Eventually, both engines stopped. The aircraft descended into the ocean. Many aviation experts consider this theory plausible because it explains the lack of distress calls, the absence of passenger communications. The long flight after radar contact was lost, yet it doesn't explain every detail. Most importantly, it doesn't fully explain the aircraft's complex route changes. Numerous alternative theories have emerged over the years. Some suggest a hijacking, others claim a rogue crew member took control. There are theories involving cyber attacks, military interception, secret landings, even extraterrestrial involvement. However, investigators found little or no evidence supporting these claims. Most experts agree that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and so far, none has been presented. The simplest explanation remains that MH370 crashed somewhere in the southern Indian Ocean, but exactly why remains unknown. Many people wonder, how can a giant airplane disappear? The answer lies in geography. The Indian Ocean is enormous. The search area spans remote regions far from shipping routes. The seafloor is incredibly complex. Underwater mountains, deep trenches, volcanic formations. Strong currents can scatter debris across thousands of kilometers. Even with modern technology, locating a crash site in such conditions is extraordinarily difficult. In some ways, it's like searching for a needle in a haystack. Except the haystack is larger than entire countries. For the families of the 239 victims, the mystery never ended. Many spent years hoping for answers. Some refused to believe their loved ones were gone. Others demanded further investigations. Every new search announcement brought hope. Every unsuccessful mission brought heartbreak. Unlike most aviation disasters, there was no final moment of closure, no complete explanation, no definitive conclusion, only uncertainty. And uncertainty can be one of the most painful experiences a family can endure. More than a decade later, MH370 remains one of the greatest mysteries in modern history. Investigators generally agree on several key points. The aircraft deviated from its planned route. It flew for several hours after disappearing from radar. It most likely ended its journey in the southern Indian Ocean. Debris confirms that the aircraft crashed. But critical questions remain unanswered. Who changed the course? Why were communication systems disabled? What happened during the aircraft's final hours? Until the wreckage and black boxes are found, those questions may never be fully answered. Somewhere beneath the dark waters of the Indian Ocean lies the truth. Let me know your theory in the comments below. And if you enjoy deep dives into unsolved mysteries, aviation disasters, and real-life investigations, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications.